What if the biggest mistake you have been making your entire life is not laziness, not lack of talent, not bad luck, but your own mouth? Curious, what if every single time you told someone your dream, your goal, your big plan, you were quietly killing it before it even had a chance to live? What if the people who smile and say, "Wow, that is amazing, I believe in you," are actually, without knowing it, the exact reason your dreams never come true? This sounds wrong. It sounds almost cruel. But the science behind it is so clear, so proven, so uncomfortable that once you hear it, you will never announce your goals to anyone ever again. Pause. Stay with me until the end of this story, because what I am about to share changed the life of a young man who had failed at everything, and it might just change yours too. And if this kind of truth is what you come here for, subscribe right now, because every single week I bring you a story that most people are not ready to hear. Excited. His name was Caleb. 24 years old. A small town in Georgia. Smart kid, everyone had always said so. Good with numbers. Creative. Full of ideas that actually made sense when he explained them. But Caleb had a pattern. And the pattern was destroying him without him even realizing it. Every time he got excited about something, a business idea, a new skill he wanted to learn, a goal he had set for himself, he did the same thing. He told people, not just one person, everyone. He told his mother over dinner. He told his friends at the barber shop. He posted about it on social media. He texted his cousin in Atlanta. He brought it up at family gatherings with the kind of energy that made everyone lean in and listen, and people loved it. They really did. His mother would squeeze his hand and say, "Baby, you are going to do something great one day. I just know it." His friends would slap his shoulder and say, "Bro, that is $1 million idea right there." The comments on his post said, "Go for it, King, and this is your time." Caleb would go home feeling 10 feet tall. And then, almost every single time, nothing happened. Not because he was lazy, not because the idea was bad, but because something invisible had already happened the moment he opened his mouth. He had already felt the reward, the excitement his friends gave him, the approval, the validation. His brain had already processed all of that as success. The dopamine hit that should have come at the finish line had already been spent at the starting line. So when it was time to actually do the hard, boring, invisible work, wake up early, study the thing, build the thing, fail at the thing, get back up and try again, his brain said, "Why? We already celebrated. We already won. Move on to the next idea." And Caleb did. Move on to the next idea. And then the next. And then the next. By the time he was 24, he had announced 17 different plans in 4 years. 17. A clothing brand, a lawn care business, a YouTube channel, an app idea, a real estate investment plan, a music production dream. 17 starts with 0 finishes. His family had stopped reacting with excitement. Now when he announced something new at dinner, his uncle just nodded slowly without looking up from his plate. His younger sister had started calling him the idea guy, not as a compliment. That hurt more than anything. One afternoon, Caleb was sitting on the porch doing what he did most afternoons, scrolling his phone, feeling vaguely terrible about himself, telling himself that tomorrow he would start, when his neighbor, Mr. Isaac, walked past. Mr. Isaac was 61 years old. Quiet man, kept to himself mostly. Caleb had grown up next door to him and honestly did not know much about him except that he drove a nice car, owned the building on the corner of 5th Street, and never seemed stressed about anything. Caleb had always assumed Mr. Isaac had come from money. That afternoon, for no particular reason except that he was tired of sitting with his own thoughts, Caleb called out to him, "Mr. Isaac, can I ask you something?" The old man stopped, turned, looked at Caleb sitting on the porch with his phone and his slumped shoulders and his expression that said, "I am 24 and already exhausted by myself." "Ask," he said, "how did you build what you built? Like, where did you start?" Mr. Isaac was quiet for a moment. Then instead of answering, he walked up the porch steps, pulled a chair over, and sat down. "How many plans have you made in the last 2 years?" he asked. Caleb blinked. "I mean a few. How many did you tell people about before you started?" Caleb opened his mouth, closed it. "All of them," he finally said. Mr. Isaac nodded slowly like a man who had just confirmed something he already knew. "That," he said, "is your entire problem." He leaned back in the chair and looked out at the street. "When I was 26, he said, "I had an idea to buy a small rundown property on the edge of town and rent it out. I had saved $4,000 working 2 jobs for 2 years. For $1,000. That was everything I had. Caleb listened. I told nobody. Not my mother. Not my friends. Not my girlfriend at the time. Nobody. I just did it. Quietly. I bought the property. I fixed it up myself on weekends. I found a tenant. I collected the rent. I saved that money and bought a second property. Why didn't you tell anyone? Caleb asked. Mr. Isaac turned and looked at him directly. Because I had made that mistake before. When I was 22, I had a plan to start a small delivery business. I told my friends about it at a cookout. They got excited. I felt amazing. I went home and I never started. The feeling of them believing in me was enough. My brain thought it was done. He paused. Then I read something that changed how I moved for the rest of my life. There was a psychologist, Mr. Isaac said, Peter Gollwitzer, spent decades studying this exact thing. Why people announce goals and then never finish them. He ran experiments. He told one group of people to keep their goals completely private. He told another group to share their goals publicly with others. Caleb sat forward. The people who shared their goals, they felt more motivated immediately after sharing. They felt confident. They felt like they were already on their way. But here's what happened next. When it came time to actually do the work, they did significantly less. They gave up faster. They put in less effort. Why? Caleb asked. Because the brain cannot tell the difference between talking about doing something and actually doing it. When you tell someone your plan and they say that is amazing, your brain registers a social reward. It files the goal as partially complete. The drive to actually finish it drops because the emotional need it was serving has already been partially met. Mr. Isaac looked at him. You have been feeding your brain the reward before doing any of the work. Every single time. And your brain is perfectly happy with that arrangement. But your life is not getting built. The words landed on Caleb like something heavy and true. There is more, Mr. Isaac continued. Derek Sivers, a very smart man who built and sold a company for $22 million, gave a talk about this. He said that when you share your identity-based goals, not just tasks, but the goals that define who you are becoming, you trick your brain into thinking you are already that person. You want to be a businessman. You tell people you are starting a business. Your brain says, good, people see me as a businessman now, identity goal achieved, effort can decrease. Caleb sat very still. So every time I told people about my ideas, you were spending the energy that should have built them, Mr. Isaac said simply. You were burning the fuel before the car ever moved. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Caleb asked the question that had been forming in his chest. So what do you do instead? Mr. Isaac smiled for the first time. You become a ghost, he said. You go completely silent. You tell nobody. You make your plan in private. You write it down for yourself only. You start working on it in the dark before anyone can see it. You let the work speak first. You let results be the announcement. He stood up from the chair. I have bought 11 properties in this town, he said quietly. Most people on this street still think I work at the hardware store. And that silence, that invisibility, is exactly why I was able to build without interference, without opinions, without people's doubt getting inside my head before I was strong enough to ignore it. He straightened his jacket. The world will celebrate you loudly when you succeed. Let them. But while you are building, silence is your greatest weapon. Guard your dream like it is the most fragile thing you own. Because in the beginning, it is. He walked down the porch steps. At the bottom, he paused without turning around. What is your current plan, Caleb? Caleb thought about it. Felt the familiar urge to explain it. Pitch it. Make it sound impressive. Then he said something he had never said before in his life. I'd rather not say. Mr. Isaac laughed. A real laugh. Deep and warm. Now, he said, you are ready. Caleb went inside. He did not post anything. He did not call anyone. He opened a notebook, a physical one, and he wrote his plan down in full. Every step, every detail, just for himself. He started that same evening, not with a big dramatic gesture, just with one small step that nobody saw. And here is what he discovered over the next weeks and months. The energy felt different. The motivation felt different. There was no external validation propping him up, which meant he had to build real internal drive. He had to fall in love with the process itself, not the applause around it. Some days were hard and boring and unrewarding, and there was nobody cheering him on. But he kept going, because the work itself became the reward. His clothing brand, which he told absolutely nobody about for 6 full months, quietly made its first sale on a Tuesday afternoon while he was at his day job. He saw the notification. Looked around. There was no one to tell. He smiled to himself. Went back to work. Second sale came 2 days later. Then 3 in 1 week. Then a small order from a boutique in Atlanta. By month 8, he was making enough to take it seriously. He still told nobody. His mother noticed he seemed different, calmer, more focused, less restless. "What are you working on?" she asked one evening. "Something," he said. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded, and in that nod was something Caleb had never received from her before. Not excitement, not encouragement, respect. By month 14, the brand was real. Revenue was real. He hired his first person, his younger sister who used to call him the idea guy. He never told her the irony of that moment. He just handed her a paycheck and watched her eyes go wide. He walked to Mr. Isaac's house that evening, knocked on the door. When the old man opened it, Caleb did not say a word. He just held up his phone showing the revenue dashboard. Mr. Isaac looked at it for a long moment, then looked at Caleb. "How many people knew while you were building?" "1, Caleb said. "You." Mr. Isaac put his hand on Caleb's shoulder. "That is the number," he said. "That is always the number. So here is what I need you to sit with today. Think about your last big goal, the one you are most passionate about, the one that feels like it could genuinely change your life. How many people have you told? Did they get excited? Did you feel amazing in that moment? Did you go home feeling like you were already halfway there? And then, honestly, what happened next? If the answer is that the energy quietly disappeared, that the motivation faded faster than you expected, that the goal is still sitting in the same place it was 6 months ago, now you know why. You already spent the reward. Here is the research you need to know. A study published in Psychological Science found that people who made their goals public performed significantly worse than those who kept their goals private. Not slightly worse. Significantly. The public group spent less time on actual work, gave up sooner under difficulty, and reported lower satisfaction with their progress. A separate study by NYU found that social recognition of a goal creates what researchers call a premature sense of completeness. Your identity shifts. You feel like the person who is doing the thing before you have done the thing. And that shift quietly drains the urgency that would have driven you to actually do it. And here is the one that should stop you cold. Researchers found that the more important a goal is to your identity, the more it defines who you are trying to become, the more dangerous it is to share it early. Because the higher the identity stakes, the more your brain rewards you for simply being seen as that person, regardless of whether you have done the work. You want to be seen as an entrepreneur. You tell people about your business idea. Your brain says, "People see me as an entrepreneur." Goal partially met. Effort decreases. You want to be seen as disciplined. You post about your new morning routine. Your brain says, "People see me as disciplined." Goal partially met. You sleep in the next morning. Every announcement is a quiet leak in the engine. So here is the system. Simple, uncomfortable, proven. Step 1. Take your most important current goal and remove it from every conversation starting today. Do not post about it. Do not mention it casually. Do not bring it up when people ask what you have been up to. Say you are working on something. That is all. Step 2. Write it down in full detail in a private place. A notebook. A notes app with no sharing. Just you and the plan. Writing it activates the commitment without spending the social reward. Step 3. Find one person maximum. Not for validation. Not for excitement. One person who will hold you accountable without feeding your ego. Someone who will ask you in 3 weeks what progress you have made. Not someone who will tell you how amazing you are for having the idea. Step 4. Let the work be loud. Let the results be the announcement. Let people find out because they can see it, not because you told them. The most powerful reveal in the world is not a post about what you are going to do. It is the moment someone who doubted you quietly realizes what you already built. Step 5. Protect the dream hardest in the beginning. The early stage is the most fragile. The idea has no proof yet, no results yet, no momentum yet. One skeptical comment from the wrong person at the wrong moment can plant a seed of doubt that grows faster than your confidence. Shield it. Protect it. Feed it in private until it is strong enough to survive the world's opinions. Because here is the truth about silence that nobody talks about. Silence is not insecurity. Silence is not hiding. Silence is not fear. Silence is strategy. Silence is the sound of someone building something real while everyone else is talking about what they are going to build someday. The most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest one. It is the quietest one who has been working in private for months while everyone assumed they were doing nothing. Be that person. Go quiet. Go to work. Let the results make the noise. Caleb is still building. His brand has now reached customers in 9 states. He has not announced it on social media. He has not given it a grand public launch. He is just building quietly, one day at a time, protecting the energy that used to leak out through his own mouth every time excitement got the better of him. He still passes Mr. Isaac on the street sometimes. They exchange a nod. Nothing more. That nod means more to Caleb than any comment section ever did, because it comes from someone who watched him actually do it, not just talk about it. And there is no feeling in the world quite like that. So I am asking you one thing today. Just one. Whatever your dream is right now, keep it. Hold it close. Feed it in private. Work on it in silence. And let the world find out the same way Caleb's family did. Not from an announcement, from a result. Drop a comment with just this. One word that describes the goal you are protecting in silence starting today. Just one word. No details. Honor the silence even here. I will be reading every single one. Subscribe because next week I have a story for you that goes even deeper than this one. And share this video with someone who has been announcing plans that never quite seem to get finished. They do not need criticism. They need this. Because sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone's dream is to teach them to stop talking about it.